All right, so I just got back from Citi Field, and the Mets win 5-2 over the Washington Nationals. And um, good game, I guess. Good game. I would have preferred to have seen a guy like Vientos in the lineup. I know Alvarez was due for a game off, so I wasn't really expecting him to play, but was nice to see still Verlander maybe pitching his last game as a Met. Was cool to see that if it is the last game for him, which it was a fine start for him. Nothing great. He gave a solid outing, but you could have maybe got more, especially from what you're expecting from Verlander. But the only complaint that I have with this game, like I said, is the fact that I want to see these younger guys play. And the whole idea of punting for next season and punting for the remainder of this season should be because they want to see what they have in Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio, Alvarez, which they know what they have in Alvarez, but still for the other three primarily, and then maybe calling up a couple of other prospects. You want to see what you have in these guys versus just putting guys in like Danny Mendick went 2 for 3 today, but I just don't want to see him in the lineup. I don't. Because why are we playing Danny Mendick instead of giving some reps to Ronnie Mauricio, who could easily be up here playing there? And I don't want to hear anything about the defensive purposes or whatever, because I'd rather see Ronnie Mauricio struggle playing second base and learning the position on the fly there but still seeing his bat versus watching Danny Mendick play, who's not going to affect the long term for the Mets. So I just don't understand that logic from the Mets. But regardless, they win the game. Let's just jump into the recap. First inning didn't look great for Verlander early. He allows back-to-back singles to Abrams and Candelario. That put runners on the corners, and Candelario was able to end up getting a stolen base there. Omar Narvaez sails it over into the outfield, and that allows CJ Abrams to cross the plate to make it 1-0. Thankfully, Verlander gets the next 3 outs. A nice little play by Jeff McNeil in right field, too. I would love it if Jeff McNeil stayed in right field when Starling Marte comes back. If Marte even comes back at this point, is it worth it for him to come back this year? I don't really know, but I would rather see Jeff McNeil playing right field at this point because, again, like I said with Marte, he just has been lazy. Maybe the migraines has something to do with it, and that's why he hasn't really played a good right field this year and why he hasn't performed well. But at the end of the day, Jeff McNeil has looked so good in right field when it comes to the defensive side of things. So I would prefer to just keep him out there, but that's just me. And then have Ronnie Mauricio play there, and then Marte could just shift over to left field, or maybe they'll put McNeil in left field. I don't know how they're going to configure the roster there, but they could figure something out. I just want to see some sort of combination where Mauricio is playing in the infield, that McNeil is playing either left or right field. I'd prefer him in right field just because of the fact that he has looked good out there. But the bottom of the first, the Mets end up responding as Nimmo and Lindor walk back-to-back. Then Jeff McNeil hits into a force out there. But Pete Alonso would get an RBI single to tie the game up at 1. And unfortunately, the Mets would not add on to their lead as Vogelback strikes out and Canna hits into a fly out. We go to the top of the second where Verlander started to settle in as he has a 1-2-3 inning. In the bottom of the second, the Mets almost go down in order, but Danny Mendick gets a weird single, a really weird single that just was a blooper towards shallow right field. So he gets himself a hit, and he finally has a respectable OPS after this game after getting 2 hits. But again, Nimmo would ground out to end the inning. Top of the third, Alex Call strikes out. CJ Abrams then gets a single. He ends up stealing second as well. Candelario then would get on with a walk, and then Verlander gets 2 huge outs in a row. Again, he struggled. He got worked with his pitch count throughout this entire outing, which is something that was infuriating because you'd like to see him go deeper. But thankfully, the bullpen, which we'll get to in a bit, did very good today. Bottom of the third, Francisco Lindor gets a big double, leadoff double, and the Mets actually capitalized on a leadoff double for once as McNeil gets one down the right field line, and that makes it 2-1. He legs that one out for a triple, and then Pete Alonso gets a sacrifice fly in the following at bat to make it 3-1. And the Mets continued to pile on. Vogelback gets a single, Canna walks, Beatty gets a single, and then unfortunately you get to the bottom part of the lineup, so Narvaez gets a sacrifice fly, which you'll take to make it 4-1, but Narvaez has just been complete and utter dog shit. There's no way around it. And Mendick ends up grounding out to end the inning. Top of the fourth, Garcia strikes out to lead things off. Dominic Smith gets a single. Corey Dickerson flies out, and then Vargas strikes out. We go to the bottom of the fifth, or the bottom of the fourth, where Nimmo strikes out, and then Francisco Lindor hits one to right field, where the new area is, where they shorten the fence, and that makes it a 5-1 game. Unfortunately, the Mets would not add to their lead as McNeil walks, but then Alonso and Vogelbach each fly out to end the inning. Top of the fifth, Verlander gets a much-needed 1-2-3 inning to help him pitch part of the sixth. Didn't pitch too much in the sixth, but still, Nationals take Trevor Williams out of the game, and their new pitcher, La Sororsa, comes in and gets a 1-2-3 inning. That's a fun name. And then in the top of the sixth, Meneses lines out. Keibert Ruiz gets a single. That was all for Justin Verlander. He gets a huge ovation because everybody kind of had the vibe in the crowd, because I didn't think he deserved really a huge ovation for the way that he pitched. I think he got the ovation because fans in the stadium have a feeling that it might be the last time that we see Verlander pitch for this team. So you kind of got that vibe in the stadium, and there were people talking about it around the stadium too. You kind of just got the vibe. And Peterson comes in and he gets a huge double play to kick off his outing to end the inning there. Bottom of the sixth, Danny Mendick gets a leadoff double. And what do the Mets love to do? They love to waste a good leadoff double as Nimmo flies out. That advances him to third, but Lindor would ground out, and then McNeil flies out. We go to the top of the seventh. Dominic Smith strikes out, and then Stone Garrett comes to pitch hit, and he gets on thanks to a horrendous error by Brandon Nimmo. I don't know what was going on with Brandon Nimmo today, but he definitely had a couple questionable moments. I don't know if he's pissed off because of yesterday. He seemed pissed off. That's the first time you didn't see him smile in a post game. So I don't know. He doesn't seem happy, though, about the Mets selling some guys off. Vargas then, though, gets a single to right to make it a 5-2 ball game. Alex Call, though, would hit into a double play. So a fine outing there for Peterson. He doesn't get charged with the run, which, again, rightfully so, because of the fact that that was a horrendous error there and never should have even got to that point. But we go to the bottom of the seventh, where Willingham comes in the pitch for the Nationals, and he gets Alonso and Vogelbach out, but then Canna gets a single, Beatty walks, and then Omar Narvaez comes up, and again, that guy sucks. He strikes out. CJ Abrams gets hit by a pitch in the top of the eighth. Candelario then strikes out, and that brings Adam Ottavino into the game. CJ Abrams gets a stolen base, but Ottavino strikes out. Meneses gets Ruiz to ground out. And then Corey Abott comes in for the Nationals. And in the eighth inning, the Mets had another opportunity to really kick the teeth in of the Nationals, and they just didn't capitalize on it. Tommy Pham came to pitch hit for Danny Mendick, which I am trying to understand, because it's not like it's a matchup thing where you're putting a lefty in for a righty. Tommy Pham's also a righty. I'm trying to understand what the purpose was when Danny Mendick already had 2 hits on the day. I know one of them was a bit of a lucky hit, but still a bit odd to me to force Tommy Pham into the game. But he strikes out. Brandon Nimmo then gets a single. Francisco Lindor gets a single. McNeil then flies out. Pete Alonso walks, and then Vogelbach grounds out because, again, why capitalize with the bases loaded? And then Brooks Raley comes in to shut the door, and he gets 3 strikeouts. He walked Stone Garrett, but still 3 big strikeouts to pick up the save for the Mets. The winning pitcher is Justin Verlander. Losing pitcher is Trevor Williams. And again, Raley gets the save. Looks like he's the closer for the remainder of the season. So no matter what Buck says, because he was saying it's a matchup thing, it seems like Raley's just the 9th inning guy now, but remains to be seen. The Mets were 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They left 12 on in total. Again, they could have been better with the bats, but Lindor had a very good day, going 3 for 4, getting that home run. He also picked up a walk. Very good day for Francisco Lindor. He put the Mets on his back for the most part today, because outside of that, you had a Jeff McNeil RBI, which was nice. The RBI triple. Alonso got 2 RBIs, 1 on a sacrifice fly, but Still went 1 for 3. McNeil went 1 for 4. Nimmo 1 for 4. Vogelback 1 for 5. Canna 1 for 3. Beatty 1 for 3. A lot of 1-4s. Would it be nice to see guys get multiple hits, especially against a team like the Washington Nationals? And the amount of times that they had opportunities because of runners in scoring position would have been nice for guys to come up clutch more. Narvaez is the only guy that didn't pick up a hit that started for the Mets today, outside of Tommy Pham, who pitched hit. But again, for the starters, Narvaez didn't get a hit, got the sacrifice fly, but he struck out twice. I don't know if anyone's going to take him at the deadline. I doubt it. It would be nice if they could find a trade partner and get something back for him, but I just don't see it. And then the pitching was great. Verlander looked solid, allowed 5 hits, allowed a walk, threw a lot of pitches. How many did he throw? Like 103, 104, which is, yeah, he threw 103, which is a lot for 5 1/3 of innings pitched there. Peterson, though, looked good out of the pen. Ottavino, Raley. It's funny to me how now the Mets wave the white flag on the season. The bullpen starts to look better and lock things down more, but whatever. I know they didn't really do that yesterday, but still, it's just weird to me. But let's see. Who do the Mets take on next? The Royals, right? But there's an off day. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There's an off day tomorrow. Again, I'd like to see some changes still with this team. During the off day, I think that's when we're going to expect trades. The deadline's August 1st, but I think while the Mets have an off day tomorrow, they're going to really make some of these moves and get some of them done, which we'll have to wait and see what they are. I think we saw Tommy Pham's last game as a Met today. I think we saw Mark Canna's last game as a Met today. Maybe Verlander, maybe Narvaez, maybe Carrasco. We saw his last yesterday. So this team might look different next time we see them on the diamond. Not might, it will look different next time we see them on the diamond because it's an 8 o'clock start in Kansas City against the Royals there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the squad looks like for that game. Could I see? It's going to be Greinke versus Quintana for that matchup. Then it's Senga, and then the Mets don't have a pitcher announced because that would have been Scherzer's spot in the rotation. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this team, but don't forget to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next, and I will see you guys in the next one.